to Veterans in Politics, candidate interviews. My name is Kevin Child, School Board Trustee in the Clark County School District. It's a pleasure to be here. We have many esteemed panelists on it. We have two candidates. They're running for Board of Regent, District 13. Give them a round of applause. All right, just a friendly reminder that this is an interview, not a debate. All right, 30-second question and a 1-minute answer. I will give you guys stop. When you hear stop, that means your minute's over. If we do have a follow-up question, it'll only be 30 seconds. Does everybody get that? Good job. So I'm gonna start this process off. I'm gonna give you guys 1 minute. Tell me why you guys wanna be Board of Regents. So who would like to go first?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
State your name again.
Jim Ratigan, and the reason I'm running for the Board of Regents is I have a passion for higher education. And the reason for that is that most of the things that I've been given in my life have become a result of my education. Doors, opportunity doors that have opened, and things that I've done as a result of training and education I've done have allowed me to realize a number of my dreams. And so I'm very passionate about making sure that other people get that opportunity, and I encourage them to pursue education. And it's never too late to go back and get an education. So that's the reason why I'm running. The second reason is probably more along the lines of, while I believe the NC Board has an important role in higher education here in the state, I think there are a number of major changes that need to be made in that. And I'm a proponent of, if you hire good people, let them do their jobs. If you wanted to run a university or a community college, go and apply for the job. People didn't elect you to the Board of Regents to run universities and community colleges on a day-to-day basis. So I'd like to see some changes.
Time. State your name.
Yes, no, thank you. First, thank you for having me this afternoon.
Can you get closer to the microphone, please?
No, thank you.
Is it on?
Make sure we turn off the timer.
That's right.
I haven't started yet. I'm very fit. Let's see what this says. I should turn this. There you go. My apologies. Thank you. My name is John Moran. I am 44 years old. I am a native Nevadan. Been here for a long time. In fact, I was born at Sunrise Hospital. My grandfather, John Moran, was the sheriff of Clark County, early 80s through the mid-90s. My father, John Moran, also was involved in public service on multiple boards and commissions, whether it be the Wildlife Commission or on the Gaming Commission. At this point in my life, I am ready to start giving back more seriously in the form of public service. Education is a very, very important role. The Board of Higher Education is a massive responsibility, and I feel that everyone's obligation is, everyone has a civic obligation when it comes to education. And my number one goal is to make education more accessible and more affordable to all. Most importantly, our veterans and their families. And that is a big, big item on my list of priorities in terms of as I move through this.
Go ahead and finish up your thought, please.
And I appreciate being here, and we'll look forward to working with you all well into the future.
All right, we're going to start with the panelists here. State your name and your question. We're going to start with Ms. Grifferton. You're first. You're out the gate-go.
That's Grifferton.
That's Grifferton, right?
That's Les. I'm
Les.
Rowena.
Did I say Les?
Yes.
Oh, I am so sorry. Forgive me.
Hi, I'm Rowena Grifferton. I am the founder of Shine Family Foundation and a talk show host. My question is, are you committed to yearly sharing the major ways you, as board members, as regents, evaluate the district's progress?
Who's that to?
For both.
So they get 30 seconds apiece. Who would you like to go first?
John.
I don't mind taking the question first, of course. Could you restate the question just so I make sure I have the appropriate response for you?
Would you be committed to a yearly sharing the major ways as Regent to evaluate the district's progress? Evaluate the district's progress. Like, would
Go
you
ahead,
share it
please.
with the public?
Well, I'd be happy to hear, I would be happy to hear any proposal. I'd be happy to work with the public. I'd be happy to work with the state of Nevada in general to work on anything that's going to benefit or better the higher education system in Nevada in general. I mean, as a board of regents, you're involved in driving policy, and policy is setting curriculum, and curriculum occurs in the community colleges. And it's important for workforce development that we be on the ground floors, boots on the ground here, and we know what our constituency and what the state considers important. And of course, I'm my
Time.
open door, morning, noon, or night.
I appreciate the question, and I understand what you were looking for. I think there needs to be more town halls in the districts in which you represent, because I think the input from the folks that you represent and where higher education is going is valuable. I think there is too little of that going on right now, and so I think we get elected regents and then they act and vote in silence without consideration of the folks that they represent. So I would be in favor of town halls on a regular basis.
All right, gentlemen, my name is Scott Lafata, and I'm with Citizens for a Better America, and also Conservatives with Energy Freedom. I'm going to start out with you, Jim. My first question, during this presidential campaign, there's been a lot of talk on the Republican side about eliminating the Department of Education. Let's hear your opinion and thoughts about that.
Well, quite frankly, right now, I haven't seen much come out of the Department of Education that has benefited America yet. So whether eliminating it is the answer, I don't know. Certainly changing it and giving it a mission that has metrics that we can certainly look at and see if it's been successful is in a good place.
Okay, thank you. And John, same question for you.
Yes, I think obviously the federal government is going to do what the federal government is doing. I think the real change is going to occur with our strategic partnerships in the community, reaching out, working with our neighbors, with our business partners. And I think that's really where the change is going to occur. If we're going to rely on the federal government to take care of us at home, we're going to be waiting a very, very long time, or certainly longer than it would take for us to get a result that is geared towards making sure that our community is taken care of and working with the communities that we need to.
Time.
I appreciate the question, Mr. Lafata.
Thank you.
My name is Robert Faust. Thank you both for being here today. My question is, where do you stand on the carry permits on campus?
Mr. Faust, who is it directed to?
To both parties, please.
So you have 30 seconds.
You want me to go first? I'll go first on this one. I'm not in favor of carry on campus, although, quite frankly, I think there are a number of situations in which incidents on campus could have been prevented had we had folks there with weapons to help stop that. But I think making a blanket, everybody can carry a weapon on campus, only leads to situations where the irrational sometimes not have the opportunity to take the
Time.
My response is I've heard a lot of different proposals on campus carry. It became a very, very big issue up in the last legislative session where I tend to work. And, this is a matter of sitting down. Again, another very important goal is to make sure that our campuses are safe and secure. Campus and education can't be moved forward unless you have a fun environment. And when you don't have a safe environment, it tends to not be fun. And so I'm in favor of listening to the proposals that will come and making a final decision down the road. But I appreciate the question, Mr. Faust.
My name is Pamela Caton. I represent Evolution Travel. This question is directed to both of you. Where do you stand on technology, with Tesla coming in with their gigachip factory, and, we're trying to recruit or attract people from California and other states, neighboring states, to come here and bring their businesses here because it's a better tax environment for them. But I found that their families, their wives didn't want to move here. What incentives do you have for corporations, high-tech companies, and students who are looking for a high-tech career in education? What kind of programs do you have in place? Or would you put in place?
Who would you like to go first? And it's 30
John
seconds per
Moran,
candidate.
please.
Sure, no, thanks, Ms. Katie. And that's a great question. And obviously, you know, we need to have a well-skilled workforce, or else we're not going to be able to continue to attract globally diversified companies like Tesla or Faraday. 80% of our student body, 122,000 students, are in our community colleges. We need to get them certified, we need to get them skilled, we need to create a partnership with Faraday so that when they show up on job, they are not being trained on the job, they have already been trained at the community college level. That's a big talking point for me, and I'm committed to that. We have, my family, if I can.
I'll let you finish up your thought. Thank
Yes,
you.
no, thank you. My family and I, we founded WestCare. WestCare has a division that is specific on veterans issues. It's called FAVA. It's Family Alliance for Veterans Affairs. And it's transitional workforce for veterans, their families, to move them not just through transitional housing, but moving them into a job-related environment where they can earn a living and take care of their families. There's 300,000 vets here in Nevada. That's 10% of the population. We need to get them trained. We need to make sure that they're taken care of. They've taken care of us. We need to step up for them. I appreciate that question. I'm sorry I went over.
That's okay. Happens.
Thank you.
We'll be lenient. Next time we'll throw you in jail.
First of all, thank you for the question. I owned a technology company for 11 years here in Nevada, and I certainly understand and appreciate the lack of workforce folks available to me and my company when I was building it. I also created advisory boards at UNLV and at the community college in technology because this is the world that we're moving towards. And quite frankly, the buy-in for jobs in the future are going to be tech-related positions. And so folks like Tesla and Faraday and all the rest, they are looking for qualified workforce.
Thank you.
Next panelist.
My name is Tim Pitar. As the only millennial on the panel and as a college student, I like to ask this question. What are your thoughts on there being a problem in the school system in general with political correctness? And if you recognize this being a problem, how are you going to try and help at least fix it or solve it?
Who was that for? And who
Both-
do you wanna
both,
start first? So they have 30
candidates.
seconds to answer.
Go for it, whoever wants to tackle that one.
Well, I think from a political correctness standpoint and from a cultural sensitivities standpoint, UNLV has been going through this for the last year in regards to an issue that you're probably well aware of, the HAREP, and its relationship to Confederacy and so forth. I think there's a compromise somewhere in this world where we have to not be too far to the left in terms of our sensitivities, and at the same token, not be too far in ignoring and recognizing the sensitivity. So I think it's a collaborative effort where we need to compromise and figure out what's the best approach to do that instead of taking a very hard and fast rule.
Yes, Mr. Pitaro, that is a very difficult question. You know, my grandfather served in the Pacific Theater, John, and my grandfather, Herb, served in Europe in World War II. My father served in Vietnam for 2 years before he ended up going through the college. Political correctness is of secondary concern to me. I'm interested in doing what is right. Those are the values that my family have invested in me, and I've spent the past 20 years in business fine-tuning. And so to me, this is not, when it comes to education, it comes to this position, it is not about political correctness. It is about doing the right thing and taking care of people, because the educational component in Nevada is the fabric of our state. And who we graduate from K through 12 to the university systems and the community colleges, those are the people that are taking care of us, and we need to take care of them.
Thank you.
Next panelist, Doctor.
Yeah, it's Dr. Fred Conquest, and just for your info, I'm professor at CSM and executive director of the Citizens for a Better America. My question is, the NISHI budget per se is approximately $9 to $10 billion million. Would you oppose or not a forensic audit of the NISHI budget per se, not necessarily the schools, but the Nevada system of higher education budget seems to have a whole bunch of overpaid people who are really not very good at getting anything done.
Mr. Conquest, I could probably take that one.
Is that for both of them, sir?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll get 30 seconds each. Sorry about the interruption.
No, thank you, Mr. Conquest. Great question. As a regent, you are in charge of a very massive budget. It's almost $1 billion budget. The funding formula is very, very sophisticated and very, very interesting. Fiscal responsibility is of critical importance as we move forward. And anything in terms of any type of an advisory committee that could be impaneled to review issues involving fiscal responsibility would be another priority to me as we move higher education forward through 2017.
I'm really good friends with Dan Clates, you know, that he and I have disagreed on a number of points, and one of those is the growth of the NSHE group. There's 220 employees in NSHE, which is the oversight organization over all the institutions, and my direct answer to you is absolutely. I think it's too large. I think we need to audit, and anytime their budget is larger than the community college budgets, then I have a problem.
Hi, Patrick Llewellyn, Veterans of Politics. As a father of 3 children in the public school system, Clark County, obviously, one of which is actually a senior and graduating, what is the plan for like community outreach to the local high schools, or even before that, to encourage the kids to look into UNLV or UNR or even CSN, for that matter, to stay here versus UCLA, UC Irvine, or any other out-of-state institution?
Is it directed to both of them?
Yes, both, please.
And who would you like to go first?
Mr. Ratigan, please.
Well, I can speak to that from UNLV standpoint. Our admissions office right now is doing outreach. They've also reached out to the alumni, of which I run in UNLV, to help go out and speak to students in high schools and talk about UNLV. For the longest time, we've always been known as Tumbleweed Tech, and we have come a long way from that. In fact, this year's alumnus of the year is Dr. Tony Alamo, and if you get a chance, read Dr. Alamo's story. He started at USC, came back here to UNLV and said, this is a great school, and finished up here.
Yes, no, thank you, Mr. Llewellyn. As I pointed out in an earlier question, the right hand has to be telling the left hand what the right hand is doing. And the coordination, with all due respect to Mr. Ratigan's position at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, very small component of the higher education system in general. As I pointed out earlier, 80% of our student body, which is 125,000 students that we're educating, are being educated at the community college. We need to make sure that we provide that hand-holding to link and integrate K through 12 and our higher education. I went through public school here, Howard, Boston, Hyde Park, so I know what the system's like. It can be much better, but there has to be a sharing of information between both K through 12 and our higher education system in general, not just at the university levels, the community college levels. That's where our people are getting the skill set to be able to feed their families, to have good paid jobs that will lead to freedom. Thank you for the question, Mr. Llewellyn.
Thank you.
Hi guys, Michael Broadway, Veterans in Politics. My question is for both of you. District 13, you're running for it. What are the 2 #1 issues you see, and how do you intend to correct it? Let's start with you, Mr. Ratigan.
In my district, there is a large population of senior citizens who have grandkids, and I know that their concerns are getting their children into college. All grandparents want their kids, the best for their kids and their grandkids. So that's going to be #1 for me, is getting them into college without securing heavy student debt. Because quite frankly, in this day and age, grandparents are being asked to step in more and more to assist their children and their grandkids. kids, and I don't want to see them having these.
Time.
I didn't get a chance to answer the second one.
Yes, again, and I appreciate the question, Mr. Broadway. Two things. Obviously, number one, accessibility and affordability is of critical importance. We went through that a minute ago, and we also talked about economic development in the form of workforce development, enticing, attracting big, globally diversified businesses to Nevada. The second issue is obviously making sure that this medical school is done right. We're the only metropolitan city in the country that does not have a teaching hospital or a medical school, and that is where our care comes from. And we are deserving as Nevadans, not just the constituency of Ward 13, we are deserving of only the best medical care, the best quality of medical care. And that's why this medical school, we have a chance to do it right, and we only have one chance to get it right, and we're going to do it right. And I'm looking forward to participating in that process. Healthcare is of critical importance, and it needs to be better in Nevada. It will be better through the medical system.
Thank you. Yes.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here today and letting us scrutinize you so publicly. My name is Karen Steelman. I'm the Auxiliary Director with Veterans in Politics, and one of the issues that I often find when we're interviewing candidates is that you often have opposing views on certain issues. So I'd like to get both of your opinions on the Constitution and how that applies to your job and how that affects your views.
And who would you like to go first?
Let's start with Mr. Moran. Moran.
No, that's okay. That's okay. That's a terrific. That's a terrific question. So, what's interesting about Nevada is there's a fourth branch of government, which not most people will know this. We have a legislative branch, we have an executive branch, and then we have the judicial branch. But in Nevada, we have a fourth, which is the Board of Regents. It sits as a constitutional branch of government, and I am a big protector of the Constitution. I have represented veterans for 20 years in business, in help with their disabilities, in help with their the disease of addiction is a big issue. I've worked with Arnold Stock at Veterans Village, and for many years we just developed a property over off of Las Vegas Boulevard in Charleston, and it's transitional housing. But I'm a big, firm believer. As a lawyer, I've represented and defended under the Constitution many rights of many veterans over many years, not just several years, but 2 decades, and I appreciate that question.
Next, please.
I think the question is very simple. I will abide by the Constitution. That's what I uphold. And the Constitution was put in place by the people of the United States and by the people of the state, and I will abide by the Constitution. That's very simple.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have a couple more minutes left. Does anybody have a follow-up questions and direct them to the candidate, please? Go ahead, sir.
Oh, go ahead.
So you guys didn't answer my first question. So this will be a yes or no answer. Keep it simple. Do you recognize political correctness as a problem? Yes or no? Do you believe in free speech zones? Yes or no? And if you uphold the Constitution like you say, why are you not for campus carry?
And who would you like to start first,
We'll
please?
start with Mr. John Moran.
Okay, so it seems like you have 3 questions. So the first question is do I believe in political correctness?
Do you believe it's a problem? Yes or no?
Do I believe it's a problem?
Yes.
I do believe it's a problem.
Okay.
The second question is
Free speech zones.
free speech zones?
Yes, on campus.
I'm a protector of the Constitution. Third question?
Wait, so do you believe in free speech zones? Or
I
not?
believe in free speech zones as protected by the Constitution.
Okay. And then the third one was if you believe in the Constitution, your stance on open carry.
Again, I'm a holder of a concealed weapons permit, so I'm a believer in concealed weapons carry. On the campuses of the universities, I have not seen all of the information on that, so it's something that I just have not developed a specific position on. I can tell you, however, I want our campuses to be safe. So if there is a proposal out there that gravitates towards being able to carry concealed on a campus and still maintain the integrity of safety, then that would be something that I would be in favor of. But if not, I would not be in favor of it. Safety is of critical importance, especially with my family's background in law enforcement. That's a big item for me, is safety on all campuses, not just the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, but on all community colleges in our state.
Okay, let's move to the next one.
So Mr. Ratigan.
On your first question with regard to political correctness, yes, we do have a problem with that. I think far too often we go overboard on trying to be sensitive to everybody and lose our common sense. second free speech zones. I've always believed that campuses were free speech zones to begin with, so I would certainly be in favor of that. But I thought you could speak your mind anywhere on campus. And the third item, I believe in the right to bear arms. And again, echoing what Mr. Moran said, I am concerned about safety on campus. And it's not 99.9% of the population that I'm afraid of. It's the 0.1 that I'm afraid of. And so unfortunately, sometimes we penalize the 99.9 based on the 0.1. But I think I would not want to see or talk to a parent that lost a child because the 0.1 was there.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Next, please. We have one more question.
Oh, okay. Mr. Moran, pardon me. You stated that you wanted to make college more affordable for students, and I believe you did as well, Mr. Ratigan. How do you propose doing that? What kind of plan do you have in place for that?
Well, in making colleges more affordable, we have a limited general fund budget that's created by the governor and the legislature. I have spent most of my life professionally working with the legislature, both our assembly members and our senators up in the state legislature. There are a lot of programs. This next session is going to be a higher education session. The last session was a K through 12 session. The governor's made it clear that this is going to be a higher education. I can get involved in that. The second thing I can get involved in is being able to go out and create relationships with our business leaders, with our friends and family, with our community members, with our neighborhoods, to bring in more revenue in the form of endowments, in the form of scholarships, and to continue to bring in new money. It can't just be the Boyds and the Macs and the Thomases and the Saltmans, and we need to bring in new blood, and it's my generation. It's 44 years old. It's time for us to step up, not just via rolling up our sleeves and getting to work, but also raising money for the higher education system.
Would that be something you would do personally or hire somebody to do?
Oh, our family is already doing it personally. We have endowments both at University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and an endowment up at the medical school in Reno. So I will continue to even do more, and that's really why I picked this race as opposed to something else.
Thank you.
Putting this up. Okay, so we're all done, guys. What, is it a yes or no one? Can you do a yes or no?
Mr. Ratigan didn't answer the question.
It was only for one you said. So.
No, I said I think both of you.
Well, then they should have 30 seconds if you
Okay.
clarify that,
That's
so I'm
okay.
sorry about
That's
that.
fine. No problem.
So I appreciate that. So, one more question then?
Yeah, Mr. Ratigan, you sit here and say that you don't want to talk to the parent of the 0.1%. Do you want to talk to the parents of the 50 people that are dead because the 99% didn't carry?
No, I said I didn't want to talk to the parent of the individual who was lost because of the 0.1%. One single life is important to me.
I agree. How can you sit and say you support the Second Amendment if a guy is
Remember, this is an interview, not a debate, please. Thank you.
What I'm saying is I agree with the right to bear arms.
except at college?
Well, I just want to make sure that if in a situation at college it is workable and we can feel safe with kids on school and students on school, I will support that. But right now, my feelings are I don't know enough about it, and my general feeling is that the 0.1% is what scares me.
Okay. Thank you so much, panel. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Moran, for coming out. And we want to just thank the sponsors again, Jeff Gormley, owner of Rhythm Kitchen here. And we want to thank Ron Q Foundations. We want to thank Paul Pata, owner of Paul Pata Law Offices, Michael Broadway, Robert Stoffel Law Group, Brent Jones, owner of Real Water, which you're drinking right now, guys. Isn't that real water?
It's delicious.
And then we want to thank George Carson, owner of the alltalkradio.net. Of course, Kevin Wall, radio personality, Battleborn Radio, and many more people. So again, another round of applause for I'm sure you guys will stick around if somebody has to talk with you guys for a couple minutes. Candidates?
Ready for anybody who
All right.
wants to chat.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay, good.
It was so nice to meet you. Appreciate it. I've seen you somewhere before.
Always a pleasure.
Oh, we haven't met yet. Oh, no, that's.
Yeah, right here.
I'm gonna just get my standard this shrink. I'm gonna get this shrink.
You missed it. You missed it. Really? Is that good?
Yeah, you can follow me. I'll show you how to do it.
Really nice to meet you. Yeah, thank you for your time. Great questions.
Well,
Yeah, very,
much.
very, very.
Someone more, because I have time.
No, I look forward to being back here in front of you.
Hello, how are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing?
What do we got here? Well, my name is Robert. It's Frogley. How are you, sir? Very good, sir. Yeah, it's fun. Actually, knows how to be the sponsor.
Yeah, it's all right. Good. That's why we hired you.
I'll trade it. Ronan. Okay. Hey.
Oh, hello, I'm Pamela.